Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, the distinguished Majority Floor Leader and soon-to-be Senate President. Tumayo ka agad si Vic, so sinabi ko Senate President. Congratulations. And certainly, I would like to, I wasn't really prepared to do a valedictory. I don't believe in valedictory. I was never a valedictorian. But I just want to make a few remarks here, if I may. First of all, I'd like to thank the entire Senate, and that includes the Senate staff, people up front under the table of the Senate President, our pages, people in the back rooms in this hall, even the people in the lounge. Mr. President, I'd like to remind you that maraming pang tao doon hindi pa na-permanent. Nakakaawa naman, ang tagal-tagal na nagsisilbi doon. Sana mapagbigyan ng ating Senate President before you leave. And they've asked me to, been asking me to do that for a long time. Valedictories, like I said, I'm not used to it. I just want to thank Senate Majority Floor Leader Subili for saying that my best times in my life are on the field. I've always thought of myself as an executive, as somebody who works on the ground. And was I happy in the Senate? Yes, I was, because I was able to make policies as well. Was I very happy? Not all the time, because we are legislative body subject to compromises all the time, and sometimes my mindset is not tailored towards that. I suppose my education with my parents, my education in my University of the Philippines, and my alumni, all my schools, including Ateneo, Letran, Lourdes, has molded me into a man that makes decisions and stand by it. I have served this country for a long time. 51 years ago, about this time, I became the youngest delegate to the Constitutional Convention. They called the Constitutional Convention in session, assembled on the first week of June, about this time. And I was privileged to be the youngest member of the convention, and I'm now on a stamp, something that my colleagues in the Constitutional Convention engineered to put us in a stamp. I'm not allowed to be there because all the people, all people in the stamps can only be dead people. I'm the only live one because President Macapagal, Senator Sotero Laurel, and all the others, including Baby Duawit, were there, and they've all moved on. So don't charge me again for that. I was mayor of Olongapo, and I was very, very happy as mayor of Olongapo. My father was assassinated, and I became a lawyer, and I got into politics not because I wanted to right away, but because my father was assassinated. Many of you are aware of that, and that's why, if you look at my record, I always stand up against violence, against assassinations, against abuse. And as mayor of Olongapo, we did quite a few tricks there. We envisioned the withdrawal of bases or the removal of bases. We went through many disasters during that time. We went through the great disaster of the Luzon earthquake, and we were there. And then we went through the volcanic eruption of Mount Pinatubo, and Frank Drilon was there. Some of you were there as well. I believe Robin Padilla even went there. Sherwin Gatchalian was a pup at that time, and he sent water at that time. Jojo Binay came, and many other friends came to our rescue during those times. But the greatest challenge was also to convert the military bases. Fortunately enough, we had the vision to prepare for that. And we got that through lobbying in the Senate. I've been going to the Senate many years as a student because I was in history and government. And I didn't realize that I would be able to swing a bill called the Hospital Bill of Olongapo, and then later on the Freeport of Olongapo, which there was nothing in the law at that time, so we went here and legislated, literally from outside the Freeport, which many of the senators at that time did not understand. But nonetheless, I thank them because it was approved and it became a bill. Thanks to Senator Angara, Senator Enrile, Senator Gingona, and others. Having done that, we also created the Freeport, the plebs. Again, a legislation from the outside. I thought that mayors should have control over the policemen, and if we could not control it, we lobbied for the creation of the People's Law Enforcement Board so we can discipline the police. And like many laws, there's very limited enforcement. Kulang na kulang ang enforcement. From there, I went to Subic Bay to fulfill the vision. And thanks to the volunteers, we were able to bring in so many investments, so many jobs. Sometimes I wish we had suffered more para lalo magmamalasakit ang mga tao. Sometimes we're so fortunate we plant anything in this country and it grows. Unlike other countries, pagka may test of civil strife or revolution, they become more strong in their commitment to the country. But we did succeed in Subic thanks to the help of many volunteers who also lobbied in the Congress. At the next stop at the time, I seemed to be quarreling with presidents all the time. I was good and bad with President Marcos. I voted to ban him, but later on I became a mayor, and I even introduced him as President of the Republic in his last stint when he ran for president. I was asked to introduce him in the convention. So I've seen many things. I was removed by Cory Aquino, and later on I came back, and later on I would be removed by President Estrada as chairman of the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, and later on, as what happens, we shook hands and became friends again. Such is the story here in the Senate as well. I hope I have not antagonized many of my colleagues here, although sometimes it is, impossible not to, because we can disagree. But I've always found out that even if we disagree, we always end up shaking hands and trying to understand one another. Because the cause of the Senate is the cause of the country, a better country. I went through tourism and got the bill later on from that. When I became senator, I authored the bill on the tourism bill. I don't want to say I here, but there is that record to be seen. I did not want to be Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Senator Pimentel is a witness to that. It was foisted upon me, along with Senator Soto as well. It was foisted upon me in my second term as senator. And when I take that on, I knew that I was going to have a lot of trouble because, it's never easy when you have to investigate your countrymen. Never easy. You have to make hard decisions, and sometimes being a deliberative body and being politicians, sometimes we tend to forget our primary duty to the country, and we tend to think of the short-term ends of making sure that we get reelected, and I don't blame anybody for that. It's just that sometimes, siguro, my parents and God gave me a tremendous amount of, as Senator Subiri says, conviction. But I didn't learn that from my parents alone. I learned that in the course of my great travels with Raul Manglapus, whom I supported as president when I was still a student. So I've had a lot of experience, so to speak. And in the course of that, it paid off in the Senate. I think I can look at anybody in the eye and hold my head up high. All my life, I've had 2 jobs. I was in the Red Cross as a volunteer for 54 years now. And I never thought I would be chairman of the Red Cross. Once upon a time, I was asked what I would choose, to remain in the Senate or remain as chairman of the Red Cross. And without batting an eyelash, I said I would rather be a Red Cross chairman because I'm a volunteer. I'm not paid there. To this date, I'm not paid. I have no benefits, but I enjoy it because it's a direct pipeline to assisting and alleviating human suffering and and making sure that the dignity of the people is always intact. And that has guided me in my time here in the Senate. And that is why I do not have any rancor. I've always said to my friends who are older than me, do not retire. You can get tired, but never retire. Because when you start retiring, you start counting the days when you have to kick the bucket. And we should not get retired. Senator Dulan will not retire. I know he's got a busy mind. Say so with Senator Lacson, Senator Soto, and certainly not Senator Pacquiao and Senator Recto. Especially Senator Recto, he's not only got a busy mind, sometimes a very, very fertile mind. Having said that, Mr. President, I have no regrets insofar as my stint in the Senate is concerned. And as I leave the Senate, I have nothing but thanks to our Almighty for having given me the privilege of being given the chance to serve our great country. I have never thought that leadership was something of a privilege. Leadership, after all, is not a position, as a great man once said, it is action. And perhaps that's why I prefer the Red Cross all the time. But I wouldn't mind being back in the Senate again. But of course, it depends on what the challenges will be in the future. So having said all that, you can see there the good, the bad, and the ugly in that picture as I was being disturbed by Joel Villanueva. I have many pictures like that that I will never forget and will give me pleasant memories here. I thank Senate President Soto for his indefatigable leadership, for putting us on even keel. It's hard to be Senate President. And this is one thing I'd like to say here. It's about time we go back to the two-party system, because we cannot be a good Senate if we have sambulat ang ating mga loyalties sa kanya-kanyang partido. And we cannot have a cogent platform of government. And so, to my mind, as a parting shot, I think it would have been easier for Senate President Soto if we had the two-party system, and certainly it would be easy for all of us. All the compromises that have to be made, as Senator Pimentel knows, is going to be aware of, is there. My time in the Senate is probably, you can talk about the automated election law, the tourism law, the laws on the judiciary that I have had many opportunities. Health, we were able to provide health benefits right away to those. We came in at the time of the pandemic, and that really disturbed my service in the Senate, because I started focusing more on the Red Cross because people were dying. And because of that, I can go back to the Senate and say, without batting an eyelash, without the Red Cross, there would have been many more people dead, because we had tested many, many more people than any other agency of the government, public and private. And I can see Senator Subiri, who's my vice chairman there. We tested over 5.5 million people. The next in line was a private agency, and you can see on the screen 1.3 million by Detoxicare. And of course, again, as a parting shot, the government did not do well. You can see, I think it's number 5 or number 6, RITM, which was doing the testing, should be given attention by the Senate, because that should be, and we have filed the bill on that, our Atlanta here, the national health watchdog of our country. I've been hurt here in the Senate when I filed the motorcycle crime bill. It was not to give a hard time to anybody. It was to make sure that the killings on board motorcycles would stop, titigil. Maraming napapatay na sa tinatawag nating riding in tandem. We shrug our shoulders and say talagang ganyan. I'm not one to say talagang ganyan. We have to fix the problem. Cannot fix the blame. We put a motorcycle plate at the back and a sticker in front, but I was savaged by those who say I insisted on having 2 steel plates. It's already being implemented very slowly, but to be sure, you have 1 motorcycle plate. Sa lahat ng aking mga tumira sa akin, nagkakamali kayo, isa lang ang plaka sa likod ng motorsiklo at malinaw. Para masasabi nyo kung walang plaka, may re-report nyo, at sana ma-implement na yung operation center na pag nakakita ng walang plaka o lumang plaka, may re-report para matigil ang pagkakataon na papatay. Actually, Mr. President, I think you are aware of that. I was not going to run anymore. It was that, even when I filed reluctantly. After all, hindi masyadong malinaw ang mga party lines. And I really decided to come back when I saw that incident when a Filipino was shot, a fiscal at that. And I gave a privilege speech here in Cavite. Pinatay siya at habang siya ay nag-skipping rope. At nung napatay siya, it broke my heart. It broke back memories of my father being assassinated. Pinatay. When I saw that young man, yung anak, not more than 15 years old, go out, and he was crying out, "Daddy, Daddy." Kala niya nag-skipping rope na himatay lang, yung pala patay na yung kanyang tatay. At nakita ko, tumakas yung motorsiklo, palabas, at sinabi ng kapulisan, ayan yung bata, at hinihila niya yung tatay niya, pero patay na yung kanyang ama. And nakita ko yung motorsiklo, nung kanya yun, lumabas, at Later on, nahuli di umano, pero hanggang ngayon, nung sinabi sa akin ang report, sila sabi hindi raw nila ma-file kahit na nagkumpisal na dahil dalawa ang confession na ginawa at both were contradicting one another. I hope the Senate would look into that. I had wanted to look into that if I had been able to come back. Because that's precisely why I said to my wife, who is the happiest right now, the happiest that I'm no longer a senator. Tagal niya na sinasabi sa akin, dami na natin nagawa, dami natin pagsubok. At ngayon, nasa bahay ko palagi, and I'm glad that my wife is happy. My grandchildren are arriving tonight from Hong Kong, and we're very excited. You know, this is the only thing that makes me happy right now is that I can make my wife smile at me instead of admitting me every night with concern and, you know, saying that I don't pay too much attention to my family. There's always a price for it. So having said that, I thought I would just say, as I said yesterday, I thought that was my valedictory. I said yesterday, I apologize even beforehand na wala akong sinasaktan na senador doon sa aking talumpati kagabi. Nakanya-kanya tayo eh. Yun ang gusto ninyo, yun ang akin. May prinsipyo ako na sinasabi ko na dapat tayo in-elect para tayo ay sabihin natin kung paano tayo boboto, kung ano ang pananaw natin, kung tama o mali, at may karapatan ang ating bayan malaman kung ano ang ating mga boto. Lalo na sa isang issue na napakalaki na nagimbal ang buong bansa habang may pandemic. Nahihiya naman ako sa sarili ko na hindi ako successful na makita na itong mga taong ito na nangulimbat at pinakita habang nangungulimbat sa kanila yung magagara nilang auto at magagara nilang bahay. Ngayon magtatanong pa tayo kung ano mangyayari sa kanila ngayon. I leave it to the next Senate or I leave it to the next administration to do whatever needs to be done on that point. And I don't look at the intention of any senator who voted against. I respect that, as I said yesterday. The important thing is, what really disappoints me there, if there is any disappointment, was that dapat pumirma. And I thank Senator Recto, he was one of the last signatories of the people who voted. And you know, we could have said we will amend, as Senator Lacson did, and as some of you did, we will amend. But hindi na pinakita yan eh. And I think, and that is wrong, and you can fault me for it, but we need to explain ourselves insofar as that is concerned, because I think we owe the public that explanation. But then, tapos na yan. Wala na yan. I turn the page and I move on. As I move on, I have nothing, like I said, but superb thanks for having had the privilege of being able to serve this country, even as a ConCon delegate or even as a volunteer. Malaking pasasalamat ko sa ating mga kababayan na pinagtiwalaan tayo. Wala akong sama ng loob. Kahit ano pa sabihin nyo, hindi ako nasasabi, dinaya ko. Walang kailangan ganon. Kung nagpadaya ka, kasalanan mo yun. At kung natalo ka, talo ka. Hindi naman kailangan sabihin lahat, mananalo tayo. But the very fact that some people still voted for us, kuno, and some people allegedly did not vote for us, okay lang yan. Because hindi naman ating pag-aari ang posisyon. As I said, leadership is action, it's not position. But I cannot leave here without thanking my good friend, Senator Dillon. I think he's about to be canonized here in the Senate. Hindi bagay. But Senator Dillon has a great heart. It's a big man with a big heart. And by the way, I'd like to correct Senator Recto. Pareho kami pinanganak 1945. Nauna lang yung magulang ko, dahil mabilis yung mga Gordon. Nauna lang ako ng 3 buwan kay Senator Dillon. So I now end this particular phase of my life with friends like Senator Dillon, Senator Soto, and all of you. I will still be here. And kung kailangan nyo ng dugo, andyan ako. Kung kailangan nyo ng ambulansya, andyan ako. Kung kailangan nasusunog yung bahay nyo, andyan pa rin ako. At kung kailangan kong humingin ang tulong sa inyo sa Red Cross, magbigay kayo ng donation, huwag kayong magtago. And it's important that we realize that, because the best act of a man, I think, and I encourage your children to join the Red Cross, is if they can volunteer their souls and their lives for something bigger than them. And that is what this is all about. We may be senators and we think we're VIPs. We're big. We're not. People are bigger, and our task is bigger than all of us. And that is why we must never forget not to shirk from our responsibility. Whenever we are faced with very, very controversial issues, to have ourselves counted. Again, I'm not preaching. I just thank everyone for the participation in all the investigations. Sila Senator Pangilinan, si Senator Entreveros, some of you. Even Senator Marcos participated in a very controversial investigation. She may not have voted for it. That's fine with me. I've had that before. I've had that before in the Constitutional Convention. As mayor, I've had people reject some of my initiatives. Life is not perfect. Life is never complete. And you can do all the things as Senator Dillon, and if I may go under his umbrella, has done in his native Iloilo and all over the country. Marami tayong mga pinagawang infrastructure. Nakakagulat yung mga ginawa sa Iloilo at yung ginawa rin naman natin sa Subic na ginaya na rin ng Mariveles, na ginaya ng Clark at ginaya rin ng Baguio at saka ng ibang lugar. At ngayon, yung Bulacan. So I was privileged the other day to co-sponsor Bulacan. Having said that, therefore, when the Roman general parades himself in Rome, after his conquest, he's not allowed to bring his army. There's always somebody behind him in his chariot with a laurel leaf saying, "Sic transit gloria mundi." Amidst all the cheers, amidst all the applause, a man is behind the chariot, behind the general, and he has that laurel leaf, and he's saying, "Sic transit gloria mundi." All glory is temporary. And what is important is like what Lenin said, there is no price in yesterday's fish. I want to counsel all of you because in our calling, whatever you do today will soon be forgotten. And people will always be demanding and say, "What are you going to do for me today?" And that is the greatest danger, my friends. The greatest danger today is the politics of money. I saw that in the last campaign, even worse. Nakalat ang pera, and hindi maalis eh. Even sa Amerika, ganyan. Hindi naman ako nangangaral, nakakatakot lang. Because ang importante, ang pagboto, katulad din ng pagboto natin sa Senado ng tao, ay dapat on the basis always of principle, of vision. Based on your values, based on your capability to volunteer yourself for the greatness of our country. And so today, I end this particular phase of my life. See, I don't retire. This is just a phase in my life, in my journey. We all wish for a longer life, but you never know. Somebody can do something to you, or you can get sick. I have people who are very rich who are sick right now in a coma, and I grieve for them. And so today, pagpasensya na ako, palagi nyo sinasabi, mahaba ako magsalita, mabilis ako magsalita. Hindi, kulang lang ang edukasyon nyo, kaya nahahabaan kayo sa akin. O mabilis ako magsalita, hindi, mabagal lang kayo mag-isip. All in a joke, of course, because we're friends. I can joke that way, but I never spoke to satisfy myself. I try to speak, I try to reach out, and that is leadership. You have to reach out and change mindsets. And in the Senate is the greatest place where you can change mindsets. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But the most important thing is you must always make the people win. So I close. The very nice phrase from one of my favorite authors. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but we all have promises to keep and miles to go before we sleep. Maraming salamat sa inyo, and may God bless all of you at the Republic of the Philippines.
Thank you, Senator Gordon.
Chairman.
Session suspended.